Hello, BookTube. I've got some new mail for you and also a product update, and the product update is pure love. Of course, I'm talking about my storage clipboard. This thing is fantastic. Just fantastic. I had to get over, I'm still training myself, that rattling around noise when I move it doesn't mean anything. It's weird. From my past, that should mean something. That should be a very bad sound. But the three compartments, there's a storage compartment at the bottom here and two little storage compartments up there. It doesn't matter if things rattle around inside them. They're tiny. So it doesn't matter. They're making noise, but they aren't going anywhere. And the stuff on the inside, the pages on the inside, the paper that I'm actually writing on, the loose pages that I'm writing on, is kept in place by the compression of the cover. And on the inside of the front cover are those plastic containers, those plastic folder compartments. So nothing falls anywhere. Nothing slips out of place at all. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And the design flaw, or the design, the user flaw of the previous clipboard, the one that opened from the bottom, where I would open it up and things would just spill out on top of me. That any chance that might happen with this one is eliminated by that little Star Trek notebook that I got yesterday, because I put that on top of the loose pages on the inside. So when I open it up, that notebook is keeping everything from falling out, and it's just wonderful. So I wanted to point out that this purchase was perfect, just wonderful. I won't put it in rice cooker level of perfect, but it's close. In fact, it may reach that level because I'm using it every day. This is where I keep all of my annoying paperwork. It's where I keep all of my postal stuff, and it's where I keep my journal. So it could bump into that territory. But in the meantime, we've got two packages here. I think more is probably on the way. I mean, this is the day after a federal holiday, so probably there's a swack of mail that's due to come later this afternoon. But what have we got here? What is this? Okay, well, is this a new book? Did one of you send this to me? Yeah. It's self-published without a copyright date. That's kind of odd. Maybe the copyright's in the back? It's manufactured in Turkey. Maybe that explains it. Yeah, this is a 2021 release. This is Forget Prayers, Bring Cake, a single woman's guide to grieving. Huh, I wonder why I'm getting this. Loss does not wait for us to be ready. Absolutely true. It arrives when it wants, on top of other struggles, and more often than not, with a fury all its own. When author Marissa Nathan Gershon moved from the quiet of New England to the complexity and magic of New Orleans, she was greeted by the sudden death of her father. This is her story of confrontation with layers of grief and despair, current and historical, handled all alone in a brand new city. Oh, that sounds tough. This heartrending, relatable account of one woman's reckoning with loss is a guide to the world of self-recovery, self-love, and the skills necessary to meeting one's own needs in these times of pain, especially when that pain is suffered alone. Wow. Okay. All right. I don't know why I'm getting... Oh, wait, there's a note. Oh, oh, okay. All right. This is from my editor at the Martha's Vineyard Gazette. I do a lot of book reviewing for the Martha's Vineyard Gazette. This author, Marissa Nathan Gershon, must have some contact with the island. Those of you who aren't familiar with your American geography, the state of Massachusetts, where I live, the greatest state in the Union, is a rectangle. It's just a rectangle, except for a fishhook extending out into the Atlantic Ocean. That fishhook is Cape Cod, and a little bit off that fishhook into the ocean is the island of Martha's Vineyard. That's now become a summer resort for the bulk of its use. It's had many, many identities over the centuries. And they have a newspaper, which should be arriving later today, the Martha's Vineyard Gazette. It's just a big, gray, folded, broadsheet newspaper. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and I review for them. And this woman must have some connection with the vineyard, because that's my next book. Great. And then we have a big envelope here that Almost didn't make it to me, so we'll see. We'll see what this is. What is this? Oh, fantastic. Okay, this is from Vermont. Bean, this is from the old house in Vermont. It is. Yes. Do you actually smell that, huh? Yes. This is from Mark Richardson and his long-suffering wife, his wonderful wife, up in Vermont. We have, when Frida and I are not visiting up in Vermont, then there's a steady stream of packages that flow back and forth between us. As you just find things, right? I mean, that friends find things that they think each other might want, and we're just a couple of hours away, so it's easy to mail stuff. So these are comic books. Oh, these are probably wait for tomorrow, but that's all right. Okay, so this first one is a new Dynamite first issue of Red Sonja. The quasi Robert E. Howard character of Red Sonja. This is written by Mirka Andolfo, with the main cover is by Mirka Andolfo. Did Mirka Andolfo also write the book? 10-1, that's going to be really hard to tell. Oh no, it's right in the front here. Good. The writer is Mirka Andolfo and Luca Blegnino, and the illustrator is Giuseppe Caffaro. I don't know any of those names, but this is a new first issue of Red Sonja. New ongoing series from Dynamite. I really like a lot of the job that Dynamite does with Red Sonja. And that's what this is going to be. Oh, fantastic. All right. All right, so this has... so Red Sonja is too late to get to a village to save it, but apparently there's one little survivor. Fantastic. So she is dedicated to the gods. She has dedicated her chastity to the gods in exchange for being unbeatable. So she is, in Roy Thomas's Conan mythology in the comic books, the only woman in the Hyborian Age who can match Conan sword for sword, who can fight him on his own level. Always a favorite. When I would read, wow, good Lord, are these all? Oh my God, I don't know how companies like Dynamite actually do this sort of thing. This comic has. Those are all variant covers for this one issue, and so are all of these. These are all variant covers for this one issue, including a cosplay cover. I honestly don't know. Every one of those artists has to be paid for that cover. I guess some of them end up being, immediately become intensely collectible because there aren't many of them. But I can't imagine that there are. It always surprises me when something like this or Vampirella number 141 that there's money to spare for all of those alternate covers. But I really like the job that Dynamite does on their Conan property, so I'm happy to get this. One thing that I'm a little confused about, and maybe some of you comic fans will know a lot better than I will. Hell, maybe Mark would know. Marvel Comics recently got the rights back to Robert E. Howard's creations. And we have a few Conan titles. Conan is appearing in the Avengers, a bunch of other stuff as well. But what about Red Sonja? Red Sonja is far more a Roy Thomas creation than she is a Robert E. Howard creation. I guess my question is, why isn't Marvel producing Red Sonja? It seems absolutely perfect for the current Marvel politics. I don't understand why that isn't happening. And I'm wondering if there's a legal reason behind that. But I'll take adventures of this character anywhere I can find them. Fantastic. All right. Well, I'll read this. I'll read this today. And then the other thing in the package is also comics related. There's a big sort of bargain retail remainder store that opened up in Mark's neck of the woods. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. I want to say Wally's, but I don't think that's right. It's sort of like a Walmart or a Kmart, which they have up there as well. It's just an endless array of different stuff, from office furniture to food in gigantic bales and boxes to books, a large book selection that they get at discount prices. I went there once. I went there a couple of times with Mark and found I did book hauls up in Vermont last time I was up there at the beginning of the summer. We found a bunch of stuff. And the kid at the register said that they never know what's going to come off the truck. They never know what they're going to see, including comics, which he knew a bit about. And this came there. No, it's killing me that I can't remember the name of the place. It's not Wally's. I don't think it's Wally's. Is it Ollie's? Could be Ollie's. Well, anyway, this is the big hardcover collection of Age of Ultron, which was a miniseries by Brian Michael Bendis and with artwork by Brian Hitch that was really kind of impressive. Oh. Hi, baby. Really, really neat. The artwork, the premise of the whole thing is what would happen if Ultron took over the world? If Ultron used... Wow, look at that. Fantastic. If Ultron used, advanced technology and whatnot to just take over the world. And I remember this as being some of the last really good Brian Hitch artwork that he's done. He's extremely hit or miss as an artist nowadays because he's a fan favorite, and that's a one-way ticket to phoning things in. So I think I only read the first couple of issues of this when it was coming out. I don't know how it ends. I certainly haven't read this much of it. This is a huge amount. Oh, this is going to be so much fun to read. Fantastic. So anyway, this showed up at that store, which I think is called Ollie's. It showed up there, and I put out a little squeak. If Mark wants to get me a copy and send it, he could, and he did. Fantastic. Well, this is a lot of great comic book reading that I'll do when it isn't even Comic Book Wednesday. Fantastic. Yeah, this Age of Ultron, I'm glancing through it here, and I see lots of stuff that I don't recognize. Lots of... if I remember, the art changes right away. Brian Hitch goes off the title right away because he just can't be bothered. And I think, if I remember correctly, I can't find it in here, but if I remember correctly, there's a neat little bit where Wolverine and Sue Richards, the Invisible Woman, go back in time to try and stop Hank Pym from inventing Ultron in the first place. And the only way to do that is to kill him, according to Wolverine. And there's a neat little moment in that issue where it almost seems like Wolverine and Invisible Woman are going to oppose each other. And that moment always reminds me that Marvel Comics, they make a great deal out of making Wolverine into this incredibly badass character, usually by putting him up against people in circumstance where his enormous limitations won't matter. He's as strong as one guy. He has unbreakable razor-sharp adamantium claws, yes. And he's got great reflexes and great senses. Sense of smell, a sense of hearing and whatnot. But he's just a guy. So there are a whole bunch of Marvel heroes that he doesn't have a chance of beating. And yet, Marvel Comics writers are often very adept at putting him in a situation where it looks even. For instance, there shouldn't be any real way for Wolverine to slow Captain America down by even a minute. Who cares how sharp his razor blade adamantium claws are? Captain America takes out people all the time with bladed weapons. From a distance and up close. Captain America's probably 3 times as strong as Wolverine. So what difference does it make? He's trained at avoiding knives, and he's trained at taking the damage that they inflict. Same thing with virtually every other character. There's always a get-out-of-jail-free card. The Marvel writers will say, well, yes, such and such a character is invulnerable, but adamantium can cut through anything. So the Hulk can be cut to pieces. The Thing can have his face famously scarred for half of a whole comic book season. And in circumstances like that, I always want to protest. It's no good protesting. Iron Man's armor would have a low-grade force field around it. Adamantium can't cut through force fields, and that brings up Sue Storm. I don't think there's any way for any member of the Fantastic Four to lose to Wolverine. I mean, Mr. Fantastic's skin can no more be cut than adamantium can be. So the Thing, yes, okay, he's vulnerable to adamantium knives on the knuckles of this normal guy. So punch him out of orbit. Punch him out into orbit, into low orbit, and you're done with it. The Human Torch, burn the flesh right off his body. Not a little bit at a time, but a lot. Burn the flesh off his legs. Wolverine can't grow his legs back onto his adamantium bones in a minute. It's going to take him a while to do that. And Sue Richards, most of all. I mean, good Lord. The current continuity Sue Richards, with her force fields, is the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four. She's one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. I love it when she's portrayed that way. But she can encase Wolverine in a force field that prevents him from moving. She can encase him in a force bubble that floats him in the air for as long as she feels like it. She can encase herself in a force field. She's probably better at hand-to-hand combat than he is. She can also create an invisible force bubble the size of a cantaloupe in Wolverine's lungs, or in his throat, or in his brain. There isn't even a contest. Wolverine would simply have to be nice. He would simply have to be courteous to her because he couldn't possibly even begin to beat her. I'll look at that issue if it's in here. I'll look at that issue a lot more closely. I remember enjoying it. The parts of this that I read, I remember enjoying. Boy, oh boy, this is going to be a lot of fun. And am I right, you comic book fans? Am I right in saying that this is the last collaboration of Bendis and Hitch, who gave us the Ultimates and everything else that you can think of, all the great collaborations that they did? Wasn't this the last one that they did? Either way, thank you very much, Mark. Very nice to have this. So I have comic books to read today. Read Sonja #1 and The Age of Ultron, a big hardcover collection. Plus, Forget Prayers, Bring Cake, a new book about grief that I'll be reviewing for the Monsters Vineyard Gazette. Fantastic. Okay, so that is the mail. I don't think that's it. I think more mail is coming. Maybe that's it right there. Those of you, four or five of you who are new to the channel were wondering what on earth is going on with the unbelievable cartoonish levels of background noise. Nothing's going on. This is the way it is. This is the way it is. I live in a drag strip located in the middle of a war zone. So it's like this all the time. But I'm pretty sure there'll be more mail. I find it hard to believe that what I got today is all I would get. So if there is, I won't be doing any more mail hauls today. This has been a rather large raft of videos from Steve, don't you think? But tomorrow, there's always tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube.